Hello guys from YouTube, welcome back to my new video. I hope you guys are having a great day. So guys, the goal of today's video is going to be to build a Dockerized application. This can be an example of a project that you can create and put on your resume. This application is built by Stefan Grider inside the course on Udemy called Docker and Kubernetes Complete Guide, and I really liked it, so I decided to build it on my own and show an example of project that you can make for your Docker/DevOps resume. There is no much example of that on YouTube, I think. Now I must mention that this is not going to be in-depth tutorial on how to build this application, and I consider that you guys have experience with tools that we are going to use for building this application. If you guys want to learn Docker and Kubernetes properly and in-depth, please go to the Stefan course. I will link it in description, and you guys have it here on the screen. Stefan's course is really good, and knowledge you're about to get is incomparable to the money you're going to give. So please check it out, guys. And one more thing before we start, I'm actually not going to write code for our calculator. I have pre-written code that I'm going to use, and I will provide you with the GitHub link in the description. The reason I will not write code is that this video is not for that purposes, and this is video about Docker and DevOps side of things. Now guys, when we're done with that, now it's time to start. I will explain everything about application start, and after that we're jumping to code editor. As you can see, our application is Fibonacci calculator. If you don't know what that is, please go to Google it, and get back here in 15 seconds. And if you know, guys, this is going to be overall infrastructure of our application. As you can see, guys, we're going to have much components. We're going to have our React application that is going to act as our front end. Express server that is going to collect informations from our databases and provide it to our React app. Our Postgres instance is going to write to himself numbers that our user submits, and here we're going to have worker and Redis. Worker will wait for Redis to get a new number from Express, then it will take that number and calculate the Fibonacci value, and it will store it back to the Redis as a key value pair, and Express will take that information and provide it to our React application. Now that's overall infrastructure, and I want to show you just this one thing. This is going to be our development workflow, so not for production. We're going to have Nginx here that is going to serve traffic to React and Express server that are connected, and Express server is connected to Redis and Postgres, and our worker is plugged with our Redis. Now inside the production environment, things are going to be a little bit different. We're going to deploy our application to do AWS, and we're going to do it by Elastic Beanstalk service. We're going to have Elastic Beanstalk instance, and Nginx again. Here our Nginx that is going to serve production files from our React application. We're going to see about that later. Express server and worker, and in production environment we're not going to have containers for our databases. We're going to use AWS services as RDS and AWS Elastic Cache. That's it, guys, for introduction in our application, and I will see you guys in Visual Studio Code. And hi guys, and welcome to my Visual Studio Code. We are going to start our story right in here. And as you can see, guys, as I said before, we have some pre-written code, and we're just going to quickly go through that. As I said, we have worker. It is actually going to be the actual core, if I can say that like that, core of our application, because it contains this function fib that is actually doing the job of calculating Fibonacci values, and all processes will be done in here. Next thing, we have our API that is going to collect information for us and feed that information to React. We have some routing rules. We set up the Postgres client and Redis client, and at the end, in React frontend, we have React application that is going to present our frontend, and it is going to display the information that our Express API take from our database and worker. Now that is looking quite of confusing, but we're not going to talk much about the code that is running inside of these containers. We're going to try and dockerize this application in proper way, and we're going to start doing that by developing our development workflow, and we're going to start developing Docker files for development purposes that are going to build and run our images locally, and that should work something like this. I don't know, I'm going to start in no particular order. I'm going probably to start with worker, and I'm going to make a new file inside worker directory, and it's going to be called dockerfile.dev, like this. And we're going to use from image is going to be node Alpine. Then we're going to have working directory that is going to be /app. Then we're going to copy our package.json inside that file, directory. And package.json is a file that contains our scripts and our dependencies. Next, we're going to run npm install inside our container to install the dependencies. Then we're going to copy everything else, and the command we're going to execute is going to be npm run dev. Now this command is running because you can see in package.json we have specified the dev script that is having node moon, and in production we're going to run this start script, but for now we're just going to run development script, and in here we also have specified the dependencies. Now our worker is done. Next Docker file that dev we're going to make is going to be inside Express server, and we're going to call it Docker file.dev, just like that. Now the image we're going to use is going to be something like node, I don't know, 14.14. 0 alpine, I think. Yeah, it is going to be like that. Then working directory is going to be /app. We are going to copy everything from our package.json inside that app directory. Then we're going to run npm install to install that dependencies, and then we're going to copy everything else, and for the end we're going to execute a command that is going to look something like this: npm run dev. And I think that the docker file that dev for express is done. Next file we're going to write is going to be for React frontend. So inside React frontend, I'm going to make docker file.dev, and in here we're going to use from image is going to be node alpine. Then we're going to specify the working directory that is going to be /app. Then we're going to copy the package.json inside that. Then we're going to run npm install, copy everything else, and for the command we're going to run, this is going to be a little bit different. It's going to be npm run start for our React application. And those are the files we're going to write for building our development images. Now we need to start writing our docker compose.yaml file that is going to take we're going to specify to that file the right configuration for each of our services. We're going to provide our Docker file to build our images, and the Docker Compose is going to be our friend, and it's going to help us to develop this application locally and to test it to see if everything works. And if it works, we should have a rightly configured development workflow. So, as I said, guys, we're going to start writing our Docker compose.yaml file. YAML. Make sure that you create this file in root directory of your project. And we're not going to lose any time. We're just going to start writing this file from less complicated services to the maybe a little bit more complicated. The version we're going to first specify is going to be 3, and services are starting from now. First service we're going to create is going to be Postgres Database. It is going to be called Postgres. It is going to have image of Postgres latest, and it is going to have one environment variable. It is going to be called Postgres password. It's going to be equal to Postgres password, just like this. Now next service is going to be Redis. Our Redis service is going to use image of Redis latest, and that's all the configuration we need for our Redis. Next, our next service is going to be, let's say, I don't know, Express server. Our Express server is going to have a build. It is going to have specified Docker file. It's going to be called dockerfile.dev, and context, or where that file is located, is going to be /express server. Now when that is done, we're going to specify some volumes. First volume is going to be for /app/node modules, and the next one is going to be /express server /app, like this. And now environment variables for our Express, we're going to have a bunch of them because our Express API is talking to the Redis instance and also to the Postgres instance. So we're going to start with Redis host, and Redis host is going to be equal to Redis. Next, Redis port is going to be equal to 6379 because that is the default port for Redis. And that's it for Redis environment variables. Now Postgres, we're going to have pg user, that is going to be equal to Postgres. Then we're going to have pg host, that is also going to be equal to Postgres. Then we're going to have pg database, it is going to be equal also Postgres. And our pg password that we already specified is going to be Postgres_password, and pg port, default port for Postgres application, is going to be 5432. And I think that's all the variables we need to specify. And that's it for our Express API service. Next is going to be our React frontend, and that is going to look something like this. Our React frontend is going to have st din open to true. Next, it is going to have build with dockerfile of dockerfile.dev and context of /react frontend. Then volumes are going to be /app/node modules and /react frontend :/app. That's it for volumes, and one environment variable for our React application is going to allow us to have live changes in our development workstation, and that environment variable is going to be this. I'll use polling, I think, and that is going to be set to true. And that's it for React frontend. And our last service that we mentioned is going to be worker. So worker is going to have a build specified, a Dockerfile specified of dockerfile.dev, and context is /worker. Then volumes, same volume /app/node modules, and /worker :/app. That's it. And environment variables for our worker is going to need only Redis environment variables because our worker only talks to Redis. So Redis host is going to be equal to Redis, and Redis port is going to be equal to 6379 because, as I said, that is the default port for our Redis instance. And just like that, we finished the first part, I can say, of our Docker Compose.yaml file. I need to add just one thing that is really important, and we're missing it right now. So the next chapter is to develop and write our new service that I didn't talk much about. I'm sorry, and that service is Nginx. Yes, I may just said something about Nginx in start of this video, but throughout writing this configuration, I haven't spoke about him. So the Nginx is going to be that service that is going to allow us to visit our site, our application. So we're going to need it, and it's going to be crucial for us. So we're back to our project, and I'm going to create a new folder called Nginx. Now our Nginx needs a configuration file that is going to tell him what to do. So inside Nginx directory, make default.conf configuration file that are we going to write so it can tell our Nginx what to do. First, we're going to specify an upstream that is going to be called React front end. If I spelled that right, I think I do. And I'm going to open curly braces, and we're going to have server that is called React frontend, and it's listening to port 3000. Next upstream we're going to specify is going to be Express API, or how I called it inside Docker Compose file, I call it Express Server, so we're going to call it here also like that. So open curly braces, and server is going to have Express Server listening on port 5000. When we're done with that, we're going to say to our Nginx to listen on port 80. After that, we're going to tell him if we have a location of root, we're going to proxy pass to http://react frontend, like this. I think this is correct. Yes, and for our next location it is going to be /API, and first we need to we need to rewrite this /API, carry it off. So we're going to have /API brackets dot asterisk, then $$1 and break. Break. And we're going to proxy pass that request to our upstream that is called http://express server, just like that. I think that should do the work. Now, as for our other services, we need to make dockerfile.dev for our Nginx instance, and that is going to look like this. Inside Nginx folder, make new file called dockerfile.dev. When that is made, we're going to specify the image that is going to be Nginx, and we're just going to copy our default.conf file from our directory to the location of default.conf file inside this container that is going to be created. So /etc/nginx/conf.d, and /default.conf. I think that's the right path. It should be. We're going to save that, and we're going to flip now back to our Docker Compose. And inside here, I don't know, after Redis, we're going to specify a new service called Nginx. Engine like this, and we're going to set the restart policy for our Nginx to always, and we're going to specify him a build that is going to have a docker file of dockerfile.dev and context of /nginx like this. And for our Nginx we need to open some ports, so ports is going to be like this, and we're going to open port 3050, and on this port we're going to access our application on a web browser, and we're going to map it to port 80 because our Nginx is listening to that port. And for the end, we're going just to say that our Nginx is going to depend on Express server and on React frontend. And that's it. I'm going to save this, guys, and this should be all for our deployment workflow. The next thing we need to do is to run this docker compose.yaml file and to see if our application is working properly on our local deployment station. So the next task for us is to run this docker compose.yaml file and see what is going to happen. So as I said, guys, it's time to run our docker compose.yaml command. So I started the terminal inside my code editor. You can start, I don't know, from cmd or terminal or git bash, whatever you had. And I'm going to run the command docker -compose up --build. When I run this command, it is going probably to take some time to build our images and to start our containers. So I'm probably going to cut that part and see you guys when this is all built. So guys, as I expected, we made a typo, a mistake. As I said, this is I write the package dot, not package dot JSON, but package comma. So inside, I think that is inside our, I will try to find it. It's dockerfile.dev. Inside, I'm just going to go randomly. It's not worker. Maybe it's Express. No, it's definitely then React. So inside React dockerfile.dev, I'm going to change this to dot, save, and run this command again. And guys, see you again after this is all built. And yeah, guys, as you can see, it comes to the end. And for me, it says compiled with warnings. Probably it says that to you. That's because we didn't assign an arrow function to a variable inside our other page.js, but that is not the big problem, and it's not giving us trouble, so we're not going to fix this. It should work pretty good without this. So our containers are deployed, and as we specified in our docker compose file, our application is listening to port 3050. So inside our browser, I'm going to access a local host of 3050. And yeah, if you scroll a little bit down here, You could see it's our application. We made this, guys. It is developed properly. I think we're going to try it now. I'm going to enter, I don't know, the number 13. I'm going to submit it and I'm going to refresh. And yay, it's working, guys. We have indexes we have seen and calculated values, and everything is working. If we go to other page, some other pages says go back home, we have this, we can enter another number, refresh, and it's working. Yay. And just one thing, we want to make sure it's working. I'm going to go to React frontend, to src, to app.js, and here where it says, I don't know, edit search / api.js and save to reload, we're going to find that. We're going to delete that and we're going to write a bunch of crap. We're just going to save that. If I open my browser and if I refresh, maybe, yay, our changes are working. Yeah, we can now develop our application locally and put all the features we want, and when we're done we can start doing the production work. Now I'm not going to change this application. Our application is going to be this Fibonacci calculator that looks like this. It's shit, I know, but it doesn't matter, guys. The Docker side of things is really important here. Next steps for us are going to be to start preparing our application for production environment and for deployment to AWS, and to integrate it inside Travis CI so we can have a continuous integration tests. So it's quite a bit of work, so we're going to start doing it now. See you guys in the production side of things. Now, guys, our first step for achieving production environment will be to start writing our Docker files. As you remember, we made Docker files.dev for development environment, and in there, let me find, we run the development scripts. Now for our production environment, we would need production images, and we will need production commands that are going to be run inside our containers. So I'm going to start with, I don't know, worker. So inside the worker directory, I'm going to create a Docker file without .dev, and this file is going to be pretty similar to the Docker file .dev. I'm just going to copy all from dockerfile.dev and paste here, and only change we're going to make is going to be that we're going to change this command to be npm run start, like this. Because inside our package.json we have start script defined. Now that's it for worker. Next, I don't know, Express server will have its own Docker file inside Express server directory, and it is going to be same as for worker. This is going to be npm run start, and this is the image we're going to use, like this, and I'm going to save that. We are now just running the start command, but not the dev command inside our images. Now, guys, for our React frontend, this is where the things start getting interesting. We're going to need to insert one more Nginx instance, but just inside our React frontend container. And that instance is going to be listening on port 3000, and it is going to serve files that we get from production command that we run inside our React front-end container when we make our Docker file. Now this is a little bit confusing, so I'm just going to start doing that, and when we start writing Docker file for our React frontend, maybe it's going to be a little bit understandable, more understandable. So inside React frontend, I'm going to make new folder called Nginx, and inside Nginx, we're going to make new file default.conf. Another configuration file for Nginx, but this is the instance of Nginx that is only going to be inside React frontend. So we're going to have a server, and we're going to tell the server that listen to port 80. After that, we're going to have a location on root. We're going to have root of user, then share, then nginx, then index.html. After that, we're going to have the index, and then index.html and index.htm. And for the end, we're going to have try files of Yuri slash index.html, like this. And this is going to be a configuration for our Nginx instance inside React frontend. Now, when we've made this, it's time to start developing the Docker file for React frontend. So inside React frontend, I'm going to make a new file called Docker file. And this file, Docker file, is going to be two-step build Docker file. And what does that mean? I'm going to explain to you. We're going to have image node alpine, and we're going to call it builder. We're going to set up our working directory to be /app. We're going to copy our package.json. I'm going to put this here. After that, I'm going to run npm install. After that, I'm going to copy all other files, and for command, we're now not typing cmd, we're typing run, because we want this build to not finish here. We're going to run command npm run build, and this is the command that we need to run for our production environment for our React front-end instance. So when this command is run inside the container, we get an build, it's called build directory, that contains the files that needs to be deployed so we can successfully see our application. And that files that we get inside our build directory, those files needs to be hosted on our instance that we made inside React frontend. So we're going to say now from Nginx, we're going to expose port 3000 because it's listening on port 3000. Then we're going to copy from Nginx directory inside here default.conf, and we're going to set it, this configuration, inside etc nginx conf.d and default.conf, just like this. And when it's that done, we need to copy from dash from is equal to builder. Now we're copying from builder, and we're going to copy from /app /build directory, and that directory is going to be made when we run this command. We're going to copy files from there, and we're going to put it inside user share Nginx and html, and that's it. I think this should be it for our images. So we made an production image for our React frontend and Nginx instance inside there. We made a Docker file for worker and for Express server, and for Nginx the Docker file is going to be same as the Docker file.dev. So I'm just going to copy all from here to here. I'm going to save, and that is first step done. So guys, when we were done with writing Docker files for production images, next thing we are going to need is to make GitHub repository to push code and to link that repository to Travis CI. So first I'm going to GitHub new repository name I'm going to call it video project, going to be public, and I'm just going to create that repository. I'm going to initialize that repository now. I'm going to add everything. I'm going to commit everything with first commit, and I'm just going to copy now these commands. Bam, 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 enter. And our code should be pushed now. So I'm opening my browser, and I'm going to click here, and our files are pushed. Nice. Next, I'm going to go to my Travis CI account, and I'm going to manage repositories on GitHub. I'm going to select only selected repositories, and I'm going to right here video project, approve and install. This should not take long. I'm going to close this, and yeah, our video project repository is here, and we have no builds. Now, when we were pushed our code and we linked our Travis CI, next steps for us is to start writing .travis.yaml file that is going to configure our Travis to the job for us that we need. The job that we need from our Travis CI is going to build and test the version of our application. It is going to take one image. I think we're going to choose React Frontend image, and it's going to run some tests on it. If all tests are successfully executed, it is going to build production images for us, and when the images are pushed, built, it is going to push those images to the Docker Hub. And then we're going to need to specify some more configuration for our AWS deployment, and that would be it from our application. But we have much to do, and I'm just going to start the work. So see you guys when we start making .travis.yaml file. So welcome back guys to my Visual Studio Code, and I'm going to start writing the configuration for our Travis CI so it can start doing the job for us, because we're lazy and we don't want to do the job. So I'm going to make inside the root project directory, I'm going to create .travis.yaml file, just like this. We're going to start with language, if I can spell that right, is going to be generic. After that, it is going to be sudo required, because we need sudo to run Docker. Next, the services we need is going to be Docker. We need Docker service. Maybe like this. Yeah, that's bad indentation. Now, the task before installation is going to be to build the image that we're going to test. So we're going to write docker build. I'm going to tag this image. It is going to be my docker tag react front end test, like this, and it is going to have file specified inside react front end directory, and it's going to be docker file.dev, like this, and it is going to have the context of react front end, like this. Now we will specify the image we want to build for testing. Next thing we need to do is to next thing we need to do is to write the script that is actually going to test our image that we're building. So I'm going to say docker run dash e ci is equal to true. Is equal to true. I'm going to specify my image name, and I'm going to run the command for this container npm test. That command is by default set on React application for running tests inside a container. So basically, in this part of our Travis configuration, we are building the image from dockerfile.dev, and that if that image is successfully tested in here, we're going to continue to do the task that we say to our Travis. So the next thing is going to be, after success, we're going to build our production images. So if the test on the image goes successfully, it means that our images are can be successfully built. So I'm going to docker build, and I'm going to tag the first image with my docker ID, and I'm going to say, I don't know, video react, and it is going to have the file for building inside react front end directory, like this. For next image, I'm going to say docker build dash d my docker ID. This is going to be a video, I don't know, maybe Nginx, and it is going to be in Nginx folder. Next, I'm going to build the I'm sorry, I'm writing, I can speak. I'm going to build an worker instance. It is going to have the file for building inside worker directory. And last but not least, we are going to build our Express server. I'm going to tag it with my docker ID. It is going to be video, I don't know, Express inside Express server directory. Now, when our images are built, we need the way to push them to Docker Hub because our AWS environment is going to pull our images from Docker Hub. So our Travis needs to log in into our Docker Hub account and it needs to push that images. So the next step is going to be to do that. For now, we've built our image for testing and we're going to test it. If our tests are good and successful, we're going to start building the production ready images. So guys, we somehow need to provide our credentials for Travis to log into our Travis account, but we don't want to store our credentials inside like this travis.yaml file. So thing that we need to do is to make environment variables inside this project on Travis CI. So go to your project that we linked to with GitHub. Go to settings, and inside settings we have environment variables, and I'm going to make first called Docker ID, and it is going to have the value of my Docker ID, and I'm just going to add it just like that. Next variable is going to be Docker password, and now I'm not going to show you my password. I'm probably going to cut it or blur it, or just basically place it here just like we did with Docker ID. And now I added my password, and next thing to do is to provide that credentials to our Travis so he can log in into our account and push images. So next thing we're going to do is echo the Docker password, and we're going to pipe that inside Docker login -u for username. We're going to specify our Docker ID, and that ID is going to have the password standard in like this, and this should be the command that is going to log us into our account. So we're going to echo our password as standard inside the command docker login with the username of Docker ID. Now, when we're logged inside our Travis into our Docker Hub account, we can push our images. So our AWS environment can pull those images. So that will look something like this. We're going to write docker push command, and we're going to push our images that we tagged. It is going to be video react, it is going to be docker push my image of Nginx, docker push my image of Express, and docker push my image of worker, I think. Yeah, we're half done now, guys, with our travis.yaml file. We're going to later add some configuration for deploying on AWS. But before that, we need to configure some AWS things, and we need to make some more configuration files. And our next step will be to start configuring our file that is going to tell the Elastic Beanstalk on AWS what to do with our images. So see you guys when I start writing configuration for AWS. the file that is going to configure our Elastic Beanstalk environment on AWS is going to be called docker run.aws.json. So it's going to be JSON file. We're going to start it with curly braces, yeah, like that. And we're going to write AWS Elastic Beanstalk docker run version is going to be 2. After that, we're going to specify the container definition, if I can spell that right, container definitions, like that, and that is going to be an array like this, and inside that we're going to open curly braces, and these curly braces are going to represent our containers. So our first container, we're going to have the name of React frontend. Next, it is going to have the image of my Docker ID, as I think video React, yeah, like that. Next configuration for that is going to be host name, and host name is going to be same as the name. And after host name, we're going to say that this is not the essential container for our application, so we're going to say false, like that. And we're going to say that the memory for this container is going to be 128, like this, with a comma here. And that's it for our first container. For our second container, I'm going to have comma here, like that. I'm going to copy all of this. It is going to look like that. This is going to be Express server. It is going to be Video Express, I think. Yeah, it's Video Express. It is going to have a host name of Express server, like that. It is not going to be essential, and it is going to have memory of 128. Like that, we're going to open new curly braces, going to indent. I'm going to copy like for our server, this is going to be called worker. I'm sorry, worker. It is going to be my Docker ID. Worker, video worker. It is going to have host name of worker, and it is not going to be essential, and it is going to have memory like containers before. And now comma, I'm going to open new curly braces, and our last container is going to be Nginx. And I'm not going to copy for him. I'm going to write from start because it's a little bit different. It is going to be called Nginx. It is going to have the image of like this, and it is going to be video Nginx. I forgot comma, like that. It is going to have host name of Nginx. It is going to be essential for our application because we can't access anything through without our Nginx. And we're going to set up now some port mappings. like that. It is going to be an array. I forgot about comma here. I'm going to open this quickly, and inside that I'm going to open another curly braces, and it is going to have a host port of 80, and it is going to have the container port 80 also, like that. And I'm just going to say that I'm going to have some links in here. Links is going to be an array that is going to include the React frontend and Express server, and that is I'm sorry, what? Everything is double quoted. Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot I need to do this. And this is all the configuration that we're going to need for our Elastic Beanstalk application. So we're going to have 4 containers. We're going to run these images inside of them, and we have port mappings for our Nginx and links for React frontend and Express server. And this is the configuration that we need for Elastic Beanstalk. Next thing for us is going to be to start configuring the AWS console, and after that we're going to finish writing our travis.yaml file, and that is going to be end of our journey. Quick note, guys, before we start configuring our AWS console, I forgot to add here the memory that is going to be like this, and that's it. Next step for us, as I said, is going to be to go to AWS and to start creating our environment. So I'm logged in my AWS account, and I'm going to type Elastic Beanstalk. Inside the Elastic Beanstalk, we're going to make an application. Application name will be, I don't know, video project. I'm going to skip this. Platform will be Docker, and it will be multi-container Docker running on 64-bit Amazon Linux. And I'm going to say sample application, and I'm going to create it. This might take a while, so I'm probably going to cut it. So guys, while our Elastic Beanstalk application is creating, we're going to talk about one small thing that you maybe mentioned, and that is that inside our Docker compose.yaml file where we built and deployed, where we built and get our development images, we specified 2 services. We specified our databases, Postgres and Redis. And maybe you can see that inside our docker.aws.json there is no any database, and I didn't spoke about any database. We only have here React, Express, Worker, and Nginx. And that is because inside our production environment we are going to use actually AWS services as our databases, and that will look something similar like this. I'm going to type RDS, and with RDS I'm going to make an instance of Postgres that is going to be used for our application. So beside here I'm going to create database. I'm going to say standard create. I'm going to select Postgres here. I'm going to select this version because it supports the free tier, yeah, like that. Database identifier is going to be my Postgres database, say it like that. Master username is okay, so Postgres. Password will be Postgres password, and again Postgres password, like that. T2 micro will be our instance. Okay, this is okay. Connectivity okay. Let's say create new. It will be called video project. Okay. Password authentication, additional configuration, initial database name will be fib values. This is all okay, and I think I will leave all of this as it is, and I will click create database. I think this, yeah, this we created everything right, and now we're waiting for our Postgres instance to create. Next thing is going to be to create an Redis instance. So for us to run an instance of Redis, we will need to use a service called Elasticache, like this. And from this we will run an instance of an Redis. I will click here Redis, and I will say create here. Redis, okay. Cloud name will be my Redis database. Description no, okay. Port is good. Parameter okay, and I will change this to T2 micro. We don't need that much gigabytes. Number of replicas I will say 0, like that. The subnet group is okay. Security group is okay, and that will be it for our Redis instance. And I'm going to click create and wait for all of this to be available, so we can start doing next tasks. So guys, next task we need to do is to create a custom security group and apply to all of our services. So I'm just going to go to the VPC, like that, and inside here I will make a new security group. Yeah, here it is. I'm going to click create security group. It is going to be called video project docker, like that. No description. I will not change anything now, so I'm just going to create it. I need description for my EB and Redis and PG, like that. Create security group. Now when that is created, I'm going to say editing bound rules. I'm going to say add rule. It is going to be custom TCP okay. Port range is going to be from 5432 to 6379. I'm just going to say it like that. Source is okay. I'm just going to say security group, and I need video project docker, like that. And that is all we need. Save rules. So from ports 5432626379, all the services are that are using this security group will be accessible. So we made our security group. I'm just going to refresh this page with our Elastic Beanstalk application to see if it's created, and it is. And I'm going to configuration right now, and inside here in instances I think I can edit. And yeah, here is two security groups. I'm just going to add video project docker like that. I'm going to apply it. I'm going to confirm this, and now it's refreshing. I'm going to refresh this page with our RDS to see if it's done creating. So I think it's available. I will try. No, I can't modify. It's backing up. So I'm just going to wait a little bit more and see you guys when our services are fully created. So our services are finally available, and I'm going to select my Postgres database and I'm going to modify it. This might take a while. And in here I will go and find security groups, and I'm going to add security group that is called, where it is, without project docker, like that. And I'm going to scroll down, click continue, and I'm going to say apply immediately, and I'm going to click modify database. So then inside Elasticsearch I'm going to select my database, go to actions, modify. I'm going to click on this pen here, and I'm going to add video project docker security group, save, modify. And while that's modifying, we are going to do our next task, and it is coming to the end for preparing our AWS. Now we need to add an environment variables to our Elastic Beanstalk application, just like we provided environment variables for our services inside Docker Compose.yaml. So inside software here I will click edit, and down here you can see I have property environment variables. So environment variables will be first Redis host. Our Redis host is going to be the instance of Redis database, and I'm going to find endpoint, yeah, like that, and I'm going to copy this endpoint but without the port. So here I'm going to copy that. Next is Redis port. Redis port is 6379. Next is PG user, and PG user is Postgres. Next PG host is going to be an endpoint on our Postgres database. So I will click here, and endpoint is here. I'm going to copy that like that. Then PG database is going to be fib values, no in caps, so fib values. Next is going to be PG port, and that is 5432. And the last is going to be PG password, and our PG password is Postgres password. And I think that is all the variables we need. So I'm going to apply this, and when that is done, we're going to finish configuring our environment on AWS. So see you guys in a minute. So last configuring we need to do on AWS is going to be to make an profile with the user that is actually going to use our AWS from Travis CI. So I'm going to IAM, and in here I'm going to make a new user. So I'm going to go to users, add user. I'm going to save programmatic access for him, and username will be with project docker. I don't know. I'm going to click next, attach existing policy directly, and I'm going to say Beanstalk here, and I'm going to plug just a bunch of these policies. So I will say administrator access, okay, no, okay, this is okay, RDS, and yeah, I think that is enough. So next tags, okay, review, okay, and I'm going to create user. Now we get credentials for this user, and these credentials we're going to put as an environment variable inside our project, inside Travis. So here in Travis, where we defined our Docker ID and Docker password, I will say new environment variable is AWS access key, and that is going to be value of this. Copy that, paste, and add, and AWS I will say secret key is going to have value of this. Copy that like that and add, and our configuration for AWS console is done. We're going to now finish writing our travis.yaml file to specify the way we want to deploy this to Elastic Beanstalk, and that will be the end of our application. So guys, it's time for us to finish writing our .travis.yaml file. Last thing we need to do is to add a last section for this, and this section is going to be called deploy. And for deploy, I'm going to set a provider to Elastic Beanstalk like that. Region for me is going to be US East 1 like that. I'm going to have specified an app that is app name. So inside our Elastic Beanstalk, I'm going to refresh, and in here application name, here it is. I'm going to copy that and paste it here. The next environment name is also specified somewhere here. Here it is. Video project dash env like that. Next tag is going to be a bucket name, and bucket name can be found inside an S3. When we first made our Elastic Beanstalk application, by default it created for us an Elastic Beanstalk S3 bucket. So find one bucket with Elastic Beanstalk and copy this, and I'm going to copy it here. For bucket path, I will say video project docker. That will be our path, and we will say on. We're going to trigger this deployment only on branch main, like that. And last things we need to specify is our access key ID. So I'm going to say access key ID is going to be AWS access key that we've specified, and secret access key is going to be AWS secret key. And that's it for the configuration we need to write. We've finished writing our travis.yaml file. We just need to push this to GitHub now, wait for our Travis to get this file in here, and it is going to start executing this file. It is going to build our test image for React frontend. It is going to test it with npm test command for React container application. If it is successful, it is going to build our production ready images. It is going to log in into our Docker Hub account and push those images. When they are pushed, we're going to tap on the shoulder our Elastic Beanstalk application, and we're going to say what is happening. And when our Elastic Beanstalk is triggered, he is going to do these tasks that we specified, and that will be it. I'm hoping everything is going to work. So guys, our next steps is going to be pushing this to GitHub. Before that, I just want to say one more thing, guys. Here, when I say that we're going to test our image with npm test, inside our React frontend, inside src, actual test that is going to run on our application is this file app.test.js, and inside here by default is specified some elements, and to see if this learn React is on the screen. I deleted this learn React so our application will not pass. So I'm just going to delete all of this, and basically we're not going to have tests, but this is not about tests. If you guys really want to test your application, your React application, it is probably going to be in here. I'm just saying that I'm not going to write test here, but if you want tests, just write them and find how to write them, because they are useful and they are really important. So I'm going to just delete this to be like that, and our tests should be successfully passed now. Now it's perfect time to push this code to GitHub and to see if everything is working. So guys, I will say git add everything. I will say git commit -m added deployment scripts, I don't know, like that, and I'm going to say git push. Now when this push is over, our Travis repository should see that we provided to him a .travis.yaml file, and everything should start properly. We will see that in browser. So in here, inside this project, I'm going to just click on it, and we can see that our Travis pulled our file, and it is starting to execute the commands that we specify. So this will probably take some time. So see you guys when our Travis is finished. So guys, it looks like our Travis did the job, and it looks like it's successful. But in here it says healthy application, but I already tried to access this application on this link, and as you guys can see, it is bad gateway. And I did a little bit researches on our code, and I found the problems. So in here, inside this Nginx instance, inside React frontend, we said that he needs to listen on port 80, but that's false. I don't know how I typed that. It's port 3000. And in here, this is not index.html, it is just directory called html. And if we now add this and commit, I will say typo, and if I push this, we will let our Travis do the job again. Oh, I didn't save. I'm sorry. Git add all, git commit dash m typo, and git push. Now we will leave our Travis to do the new job, and we will see if we did a good job now, and if we could access our application from a web browser. So guys, I'm going to leave our Travis again to do the job, and see you when everything is done. And here it is, guys. Our Travis did the job, and it looks like it passes. Everything looks all right to me. I'll go to AWS console now and refresh our environment. Now I think this looks successful, but this red health sign missing, I think that this is the problem with AWS, and it's a little bug. But we will see. I'm just going to click this link, and yeah, here it is. We did it, guys. Our application is here on AWS. I'm just going to try to submit some numbers, refresh. Yeah, everything looks as accepted. So this health red sign, I think that's a little bug, but don't mind that. That's it, guys. Maybe last thing I want to show you. The bug just just fixed it itself. Last thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to make a change in here in React frontend src app.js. I'm going to delete this, and I'm going to say subscribe and I'm going to add that. I'm sorry, no caps. Git add. I'm going to commit that to first prod change, and I'm going to make new branch called devel, like for development, and I'm going to push that to devel. I'm sorry, maybe like this. git push. Yeah, I forgot about it. Set upstream devel origin. And this should now be deployed to our development branch inside our GitHub. So I'm just going to go here and I'm going to type a video project, and inside here we have pushes to the development branch. So I'm going to pull requests. I'm going to say compare and pull request. I'm going to say first prod change, okay, from development to main branch. Subscribe, guys, like this. And I'm going to create pull request. Now this pull request will be tested with our Travis. So our Travis will see if our code can pass the test before we commit that to main branch. So we're going to wait a couple of seconds, and when that is verified, we're going to merge our pull request, and then Travis will build new version of our React image with this subscribe text. So see you guys when this verification is over. So guys, our pull request passed all the checks, and we can now merge pull request, and I'm going to confirm merge. And now our development branch is merged to our main branch, and now inside Travis, our Travis should start doing its job. Going to give him a minute, maybe. Yeah, it started. And now I'm going to wait for this to finish and see you guys in AWS console to see if our changes are committed. Again, our Travis finished the job, and we're going to see what is happening with our application. It looks like it's healthy. I'm going to open the link, and yeah, guys, our changes are committed. We're now really happy. So guys, that's it. Definitely we did all the job we need, and this is going to be end of this video, and see you guys in next video where we're going to feed this Docker application into a Kubernetes cluster. It should be really fun, and I'll try to educate you more about Kubernetes clusters. So that's it, guys. See you in my next video. Bye.